Huh?
All right, we are live,
That
man.
was quick.
Yes.
Yeah, don't long happen. All right,
Yes.
so let me talk everybody just for a minute, okay? I'm gonna get on here. I'm gonna talk about who I am, and with all the people that are here now. Everybody say to me. I'll be glad to see hello to your your thing. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time and been able to move like a like a new cheek. Anyway, uh, got something in for the program. We got Je- uh, um, Gustav has the thing on a to where's that Jerry, where's that Gustav?
I got a presentation on Yellowstone,
Yeah,
planning a trip to Yellowstone.
yeah. And we're gonna get that first in, and then then we'll take over on the cat. And if you take it on the um suit. Hang on. All right, so I'm just gonna let Gustavo have it, and he he scared me to death. Not that
I'm not
I'm
that ugly. I'm
not
not that ugly. Just a little.
not that I'm too that I'm so proud, but I know he's very good, and he'll put a great great time. Okay,
Yes.
all right, all right. All, all back at yeah. Hey, yeah, you know what's runny? I just talked to these guys. They were just a few minutes and had no problem at all.
I know.
So I guess you just I'm shocked by the service. Okay,
No,
but
that's okay.
yeah. So
It's
anyway, I'm gonna lead. I'm gonna scoot it and let Gustavo
yes.
have it said.
Yeah. So let me talk a little bit, and then we rotate here with everybody in the panel to welcome. So Chuck, we are uh, enjoying having you back. Correct? We obviously uh, having you back is what we wanted. Right? Uh, it, you created this community, correct? So we were willing to come back here, and I know to get back into the saddle was a little bit painful, and thanks again to our friend Jeff, who should be resting today. A little bit on his break from the YouTube,
Yep.
he helped a lot in the background. As we know, Jeff is very willing and giving. So it's good that our community is shouldering here everybody, and the same with Mr. Stewart, which is not here yet. But welcome back, Chuck. Correct.
Thank you.
Let me get here through all the other panelists to do uh, their welcome, and then we come back to Chuck for a little while, and I add some comments on what we're going to do today. Roy.
I'm here. I like people's problems to solve.
Hey, oh, me? What am I going to say?
Yeah. Well,
But
Whatever you want.
let's go
well,
to Randall then.
go ahead.
Keep the prayers of the people in California. They've lost their homes. 12 people have died. Do not fly drones. I think it's restricted now. It damaged one of the either helicopters or planes trying to dump water on the fire, and now that's out of service. So be smart, be intelligent, be patient, and help if you can. Help support the Red Cross. Um, they have quite a few organizations you can contact, and just have the Californians in their prayers.
And to add a little bit to that, before we go to Joy here, for what we have heard on the different members the of the community, everybody is okay. I check on a couple of individuals. Obviously, everybody in the greater Los Angeles area is affected uh, one way or the other, just because the quality of the air or the proximity to the fire. But I think I think they know that we are thinking about them, correct? So and so far they seem to be good. Joy,
Hey guys, yeah, no, really unfortunate to hear that about what's going on there in LA. And we unfortunately up here in Alberta are very well versed with wildfire for sure. So definitely not something to take lightly. And if y'all are in the California area, get an air purifier, get out of town if you have to. Homes can be rebuilt, lives can't, right? So just prioritize your own health over your belongings. I know it's a hard thing to hear, but unfortunately, that's where we're at. But nice to see everyone, anyways. And Chuck, welcome back. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
be going out here for date night here shortly, but I just wanted to tune in just to say hi and to see how everyone's doing. And glad to hear everyone's okay.
yes, John,
John, let's hear it.
Hey, Chuck, wouldn't miss this.
Yeah. Hey,
I've been looking forward to this
yeah,
and so glad to see you back. And you look like $1,000,000.
man.
So let's get
I
back.
just gotta
Let's get back into the saddle like the old days and start making some
I gotta
noise.
do I just gotta keep the speaking going so I get better at it,
You're doing fine, no
Thanks.
problem. Believe me, no problem. Let's go make some noise and have some fun, right,
exactly,
Gustavo?
exactly. And and we know we're doing well here. Chuck just shared with us that the therapist told him, "Hey, go and have your light show and talk to these people." So
That's
so this is part
Yes.
of the
yep,
therapy as well.
yep.
Chuck, you already got 40 people on your first day. You already got 40 people
Oh,
Yes.
hasn't it?
watching.
Well,
Yeah, damn
that's
good,
great.
man. Excellent.
Well, we'll we're gonna keep trying to better at every time we're doing this live stream.
Well, Puerto Rico
Yes.
and Hawaii.
Yes.
Wow.
Hey, John,
Good to see the rest of the gang.
has Mr. Wu run out of cameras yet,
Yeah.
or is he going to start again at the beginning?
I mean, the guy calls me and he says all of a sudden he's got this camera and that camera and all this wacky stuff, right? And he bought that Petrie for like, I don't know, I think he got it for free or something.
Three's good.
And he just comes up with this stuff and gives me a call, and they go down to the camera shop. And in fact, I'm going to do some more stuff here at the camera shop. It seems like a lot of people are interested in that camera shop. When I show in the background a bunch of Hasselblads and Leicas or whatever. But Mr. Wu works there, and so let's see what he's got up his sleeve. The hard thing is to get these cameras is they're either all beat up and he gets it for free from some friend, or there's a couple of collectors and their cameras are pristine and they don't want to have anybody
Too
mess with
precious.
it. So, yeah, I mean, this friend of mine, he's got a gigantic collection of vintage cameras, and he only buys absolute pristine. in the box, no scratches, nothing, and he pays. He don't care how much it costs. So it's tough to pry some stuff from him.
So how's it work with John, with you and Mr. Wu? Did he approach you with the cameras, or do you ask him to look for a particular model?
The camera shop, I go there often to buy stuff and whatnot. So then he'll text me and says, "Hey, oh, I got this Peak Tree,
Okay.
whatever." And he says, we can do a video. And I say, sure. So, the shop is only 10 minutes away. And I go down there and cut a 5-minute video. And then I'll go eat some lunch with my buddies. And we'll sit there like a bunch of old codgers and, you know, just talk about nothing.
Just hang around with the people there.
Yeah, just hang around with like-minded guys. We're all in our
Exactly.
60s, right? And you talk about the old
Yes.
days. So that's kind of funny.
And so it's also, it's important, good exercise for the noggin, and it
Yeah,
take you out of the
exactly.
house. Otherwise, you're watching the TV all the time, and that's not good for your mental health or your physical health.
No, I mean, if like for example, the 5 or 6 of us lived in the same neighborhood. I say, hey, Gustavo, let's go down to have some breakfast
Exactly.
and shoot the breeze, right? And then, hey, Chuck's coming and Roy's coming. And then you get together and all of a sudden 3-4 hours is gone.
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that is fun. Here's Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, gentlemen, and ladies in
Evening.
the chat.
Thank you.
Well, that's right. Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice in my part of Calgary. What's it like where you are, Joe? Is it snowing there?
Oh, snowing earlier, but no, it's good now. All good.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well, it ain't snowing here.
it's not.
Nice.
You don't know what you're missing, John.
I know what I'm
Yeah.
missing. That's why I laughed.
So, which state are you going to be if we're going to be the 51st?
Yeah.
It's either that or Greenland.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, for our Canadian guys, you fellas, welcome to the 51st state.
No one knows more about Eugene than me.
You need to build a
It's gonna be
wall.
great.
Keep the Americans out.
well, I think Elizabeth May's got a great idea, and there's California, Oregon, and Washington State. They're on the left anyway, and they vote Democrat. They can join Canada.
Yeah, she was funny. Boy.
Oh yeah,
she
she's
was
smart,
one
and
yeah, she's
and
great.
that would help Trump out a lot because like all three of those states vote Democrat, and then you go to the Northeast.
Yeah.
Is
This is a good segue, Mr. Stewart, here, because that reminds me that I needed to do this, given the fact. So,
That's
Chuck,
right.
I'm sharing here a little bit. Yeah. Yes. So again, this is just not because of what David was talking about, correct? But indeed, uh, just a reminder of the rules of engagement, correct? That we have as per Chuck original guidance, correct? So we now that Chuck is back, correct? We will continue here with his rules, which is encourage focus on photography. We continue this polite engagement with each other, being a supportive community. As a matter of fact, you're going to see is part of the supportive community. Welcome all cameras enthusiasts. No
Yep.
tribal. My camera is better than yours, and all cameras are welcome. That was very important for Chuck. Then, of course, we're going to discourage no discussions on politics. right? Never, uh, no discussions on religious, and certainly no trolling, correct? So
Yep.
we will try to share to the best of our ability the rules. I think we are all responsible in the chat to keep a cordial conversation and discourage any kind of bad behavior. So not that what David was doing was bad, it's just that we don't want things to escalate. But we put that slide when we were talking about the future of the channel here for Chuck, and I thought it was today very appropriate to share that again, right? So anyway, so a friendly reminder here, just to, because it's easy, correct? It's very easy. And Chuck, remember that, to get into discussing topics, and the blood start boiling, particularly us Latino people. Get, get, we and then we don't have the civil conversation we typically have. All right.
Good, right. Good. Mm. Go ahead.
Good vibes. We need good vibes.
Definitely, we need some good vibes here.
Yeah. It'll be good.
All right.
So you tell me, Chuck. Guys, what do you want to talk about before I do the presentation?
Any camera
Nikon's
news?
got more firmware updates.
Yeah. Uh,
D500, D850 got new updates, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So happened something behind. How do what happened to you, David?
Well, I'm back now. I was I was off the screen here, but anyway, I'm back. So I was just going to check on the D850 update, because I've got a D850 that I still use. I had it out last week.
Is that
I'm just surprised they're still supporting him
uh,
after all this time.
what camera that they had for so many years, they finally updated. Was it the D4, D5? Yeah, that was about a year ago. So they are still doing firmware updates on older DSLRs. So that doesn't surprise me. Nikon is good about that.
They are.
Oh, so Moz says Canon may be outsourcing production for their Casras. Now.
yeah. I read briefly through that, but they were talking about not producing any camera in Japan, correct? Moving every production line to other countries. They didn't specify.
Yeah, the D850 firmware was in April last year. The
I think
Yeah.
you just got another one.
Yeah. So my D500 went from 1.31 to 1.40.
I spent all morning updating all my firmwares.
Yeah. So it's just a password displayed. That's all it is. The other ones that I was getting is like communication for transferring files to your cell phone. That was the only other thing. I did update my Leicas, the SL2S and the Q3, and that was on communication also. So everybody's going to your cell phone to transfer files. I don't think it's RAW. I think they're just JPEGs. So the only other news is I heard that Sony is not making their lenses anymore. They have someone else making their lenses. So that was the only rumor I was interested in.
Aren't most of their lenses already made by other companies?
So John is saying that he lost connection. So let's check if it comes back to the green room. Keep an eye on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, Albert is saying that please do not forget to hit the like button for sure. That way, AP Sensing, YouTube come back to the top.
Yeah, and we can get some more subscribers too.
Yep.
Eh,
Yeah. And Chuck, do you still have your T-shirt?
Oh yeah, I got. I it's not here. It is. It's right there.
Okay.
I don't have for don't have it. So you know.
So your cat's wearing it.
Yeah.
I know the cats are always cold. You only want some more clothes to put on.
But not with a mood cane, cane, Maine Coon. I like the weather, cold weather.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
do. Yeah.
Okay, so what we all do? You all want to hear about the trick to is where is it at? Where's the crypt going there, Rick? Gustavo?
Yeah, let me put the presentation.
Yeah, if you don't,
I had to share again in here. So let me give you a little bit of an intro because you're going to say what is this for. So basically, I put the presentation for today that is relatively long because this is going to help us here in the middle of the show. It actually that presentation is about planning for a visit to Yellowstone. Correct? I will just a lot of pictures, but it's for people here in the United States or coming from overseas that want to visit Yellowstone. Correct? Um, so the origin of that presentation was also based on what happened here every Saturday. Correct? I think I was approached by mail by Michael Degrees. He was um, he was planning for a trip to Yellowstone. I think he went last fall, and he heard me commenting that I have been there uh, almost every year for the last 20 years, right? And he asked me for some advice. So I draw some maps based on indications because he wanted to photograph some particular species, right? And I uh, send him a couple of emails. So the origin of what you're going to see is what happened in the chat, correct? Interacting with the people in the chat. It came. It was the origin of this presentation. So unfortunately for you guys, you're going to be bored by me for a little while on this one, but I'm sure that some you here um, who are planning to go, and if you've never been in Yellowstone, definitely you need to go at least one in your life. It's like John, it's like going to Africa, correct? You need to visit at least once because it's a unique place. Okay?
Hey, can
So,
I ask you one question, Gustavo,
yes, sir.
regarding Yellowstone?
Yes.
As far as accommodations,
Mhm.
right? Now, the last time I went, luckily we booked the hotel, the the lodge hotel, whatever it is, inside Yellowstone, right?
That's right.
Okay. Of course, it's a very, very expensive, and they got you, correct? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
they got you. They got you.
Yeah.
Period. The other option is to leave every evening to go outside the park,
Yes.
to Wyoming or Montana to find
Yes.
it outside the park.
Yes.
But that's a long drive. So, in your professional opinion, do you think it's worth it to spend the extra money and stay in the park so you can?
We lost John. Yeah. So that's a good question. And actually, John, and we lost you for a second. So
Yeah,
that's a good
I'm
question,
back.
and I cover that in the presentation.
Oh, okay, great,
Yes,
great.
because it's again, and I tell you what my experience has been, and exactly what you were talking about. So let me share here with Chuck, and then we can start. Please do interrupt because it's a lot better when you have engagement. I can go back and in into this, and if you
Mm.
see something in the chat, somebody wanted to have a question, please remember to type QQQ, and these guys here will let me know, and I stop, and we can talk. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And I already see Mossman here talking about capacity. Indeed, we're going to talk about also the best time for avoiding some of the crowd. So let me share with Chuck so that he can put the presentation on. Uh, and then from that point, I can only see the presentation on this monitor. So let me share. Okay. And let me put it on presentation mode. Presentation mode. All right. Okay. So now I cannot. I only see the presentation, guys. So you guys tell me, right?
Yep.
All right. This obviously is a photo of a grizzly, which is one of the things that we want to see. So what is the outline of the presentation? So I give first an introduction, and John, I start exactly with that kind of things: access to the park, where to stay, the roads for the people that had never been there before, correct? Then I talk, obviously, I like to do wildlife photography, correct? So I talk a little bit about wildlife because a lot of interaction with Michael, where can I see this? What do you think? Where can I find these species of either mammal or bird? So I go through that and I have maps for all that. All right. Then we talk a little bit, of course, Yellowstone is more than wildlife, so landscape, and the geothermal features. I got some book reference, right? And I show you some of my favorite features. Okay? So this is what we have to today. So let's go to the first here, uh, which is exactly what we were talking with John, correct? Which first
Okay.
of access, correct?
I just wanted to interrupt for a second here.
Of
Chuck,
course.
could you make the presentation bigger and get rid of us?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
That's okay. They're going for that, and okay.
There's a button that says "Get rid of friends."
So Yellowstone, of course, is in the north west corner of Wyoming, but it spill over into uh, uh, Idaho and Montana, correct? So the nearest international airport are Denver International, which is 500 miles, 800 kilometers away, or Salt Lake City, Utah, which is 300 miles, 480 miles, 480 kilometers away. Correct. Now you can stop in those main airports or any other airport in the United States, and then take a regional flight to the cities that are nearby. Jackson Hole, which is in the middle or very close to the entrance to the Tetons in Wyoming, which is 57 uh, miles away and 90 kilometers, or to Bozeman, Montana, which is north of the north entrance of Yellowstone. When you are in the park, correct, or even if you are outside the park, there are organized tours. Okay, um, but I do recommend to rent a car. The experience, Yellowstone is a place to be experienced by car, correct? So uh, renting a car from either the nearby international or regional airport is the way to go, unless you travel from, let's say, if David comes from Calgary, he probably can travel. Or if you are even in California, some people prefer to travel and bring their own car. Uh, there are four main ways to stay in the park, correct? So options, like John was saying, is inside the park. Those are the concession lodges. I will recommend that for the person that visit the park for the first time. Some of the lodges, as John indicated, can be rather expensive. Correct? The pricing, particularly some of their so-called historical lodges like Old Faithful. Correct? And to get into those, you have to reserve way in advance, and we talk a little bit more about that. Correct? But there are uh, the main largest areas are the Mammoth Spring area here, correct? Then you have the Old Faithful lodging area. Then you have the Canyon Village. Okay. Then you have some location around the Lake Village, and then West Thumb and outside and just outside the park, correct, and towards the Tetons, correct. But if you manage to get to one of those, uh, it's fantastic. You are in the park all the time, but you are also at the mercy of these concessionaires, correct? And it can be expensive, so John. And do not expect some of the accommodations for what they charge. Uh, is high, correct? Because some of the room can be quite simple. Okay? For
And then
others,
the food.
yeah. Go ahead, John.
The food, the cost of food to eat.
As well. Once you are inside the park, you probably will be eating a lot inside the park, and after a week, it gets a little bit repetitive, right? There are some of the concession areas that I like the food the better, correct? I have been in all of them, but it can be repetitive, correct? Um, a lot of people also go and do camping, and they either have places for tents or they can do RVs. But the RV places are so-called primitive, so there are minimum amount of facilities. They are not like other RV campings where there is a lot of places to hook for sewer and electricity. Here you have to depend on mostly what your camper can support, right? Uh, Getting into those camping locations also require uh, uh, a lot of reservation in advance. Now that comes back to what John is the second type of alternative is outside the park, and depending on where you are outside the park, those can be relatively very close to the entrance. Okay, so you have outside the park, you have nowadays a combination of motels. And John, maybe not when you visit, but there is a lot of or there are more options on Airbnbs. So
Oh, right.
I actually for the last I think 10 years or more, I have been exclusively on Airbnb. Right?
Oh, okay.
So I rent but I rent a place in Cook City, correct, which is in the northeast entrance, and I have been renting for them for quite a while. It can be expensive, but you can accommodate typically. So you're traveling with your family, and you're going to, and you need to have 3 rooms or something. Then the Airbnb it becomes a solution. And the other thing is that you can cook yourself. Sometimes here from Colorado, my wife prepares some food and we bring it to there, so we don't have to spend too much time cooking. But we take some food with us that we can have for there. Correct? So that's an option. It's expensive as well. Okay, and outside the park there is also motels. Now the 3 places for these type of outside the park motels that I do recommend is the Airbnbs and motels in Silvergate and Cook City. You can see my cursor. That's in the northeast entrance. The uh, Airbnbs and motels in the Gardiner. A lot of the professional wildlife photographers stay in this area, in either Gardiner, Montana, or the Silvergate, Montana. And the other very popular place for staying outside the park, but very close to the entrance, is on the west side towards Idaho. Correct. So there are some Airbnbs and motels here. Now, the the entrance into the park, for instance, in Silvergate, is basically 3 minutes for the entrance of the park, right? And where I stay, which is a little bit further, which is in Cook City, it's about a drive of only uh, you know, uh, 15 minutes, correct? And actually, through that road there from Cook City all the way to the northeast entrance, there is already a lot of wildlife that you can see, right? So those are the 4 options, right? So if this is your first time visiting there, indeed the concession lodges are the best. Okay, and my recommendation actually uh, is to visit more than one concession lodge, correct? So perhaps staying 3 or 2 days, 3 days in Mammoth Hot Springs, then try to get a couple of days in Old Faithful, trying to get a couple of days either on Canyon Village or in the area around Lake Village, okay? So you are able to put an itinerary where you spend a couple of days in other places. I'm sorry, I advanced this in um, that would be the best, okay? And so everything, so regardless where you decide to stay, um, my recommendation is make your reservation well in advance. That is a critical thing, correct? So as a matter of fact, when I start putting the presentation together, which was in last November, I wanted to do it as soon as possible because I know that, for instance, for the spring season, which is May to June, basically you need to reserve before the end of the year, correct? But I'm saying if you're planning for a fall trip, correct, which is the other recommendation that I made, then you still have time to make some of the reservations, right? Even if you have to put yourself in a waiting list in some of these lodges. Okay. Now, visiting during the summer is always a possibility, but the park get very busy as soon as you get the big tourist uh, buses. And then certainly for us here in the United States, after Memorial Day, uh, the park get extremely busy, right?
Hmm.
So I always, for me, I like to visit in the spring. I actually always try to be that I leave at the park the weekend of Memorial, right? So that when the big influx of people are coming, then you're coming back. Now, one thing that I didn't mention, and you will see when I talk about the road, is it's also popular to visit during the winter. Now, um, but that's only there are two areas that you can visit: the northern road, and I will describe that here in a second, and also you can get to places like Mammoth Hot Spring from the north entrance, and from there is sometimes transport uh, uh, to some of the lodges. But then you are in that they take you into a snowmobile, not a snowmobile. It's like a snow truck, correct? And they drive you to there. That's quite an experience I never done. That's one of the things that I want to do is to spend maybe some day in during the true winter, not only the northern part of the park, but get to some of the lodges in the middle of the winter with all the accesses through the park concessionaires, right? But my recommendation is spring uh, and then the fall.
Hmm.
Now, roads, because uh, you're going to spend a lot of time in the road. So there are five main entrances to the road to the park, and there is two loop roads, correct? So and I mark them in this map here. So you have the north entrance and the north road, the northeast entrance, and then you see that road that gives you access to the loop. The west coming from Idaho, and the east coming. So when I come in the spring, I wait until this east entrance is open, correct? Because I want to enter the park through this. This is the closer one that is to Denver. So you also have to check the timing of the opening of all the park, because all the roads, because these roads, I remember I mentioned that the spring start during May, June, correct? Uh, During the winter for regular vehicle, correct? There is only one road that is open. You can see here in this is a download on the National Park Service map that tells you that only the road that basically goes from Gardiner to Silver Gate is open. That's the only road that gets plowed and maintained basically from late fall all the way to about the second week of June, and all the different entrance and upper and lower route. They are also they start opening in segments, so you need to know which of the segments is open because that, I'm sorry, that changed your travel time, right? So you can see here, this a couple of weeks ago, as they say, all the green road here is the only one open. The dotted green is only open to over snow vehicles. A few years back, the private snowmobiles uh, were uh, um, were able to travel into the park, but they have removed that because there was too much trouble being caused by the people in those snowmobiles. So these are organized over snow vehicles by the park services. Right? I think I think that David is a uh, uh, vehicle that is actually made in Canada, Bombardier or something like that.
Bombardier.
Bombardier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the French pronunciation.
Thank you. All
Yeah.
right. So so remember I told you you have to be prepared to spend a lot of time on the road. Okay? So having a comfortable when you rent your car, having a good and comfortable car is essential. High clearance is recommended, but not because the roads are not paved. Right? Actually, it's because you may encounter snow, sleet, rain, and sometimes debris on the road. Correct. So and sometimes you park just outside the road. So for that is the only reason that I recommend a high clearance four-wheel drive, but not because of the roads are in bad condition. Actually, as the road opens, they are all paved roads. Okay? Under ideal conditions, it takes several hours, and this is what John was referring to, okay, to travel between the different entrances of the park. Correct? So important when you decide to stay is what part of the park you want to visit. Correct? And that's what I recommended. If you are inside the park, correct, that you change your lodges so that you can experience. You have more access to that, more hours to access to the park. Okay? Um, I already talked about the road that remains open during the winter. Okay? But as I said, the great majority of the roads are paved and maintained, except for two roads. Okay? One is a dirt road here they call Blacktail Plateau that opens late in the summer and remains open to the through the until the fall. Correct. That is a dirt road here in the northern part of the park. Pretty interesting. A lot of wildlife viewing in that area. Okay? And the other one is a small road that leads to a campground called Slough Creek that is also not paved. But apart from that, all the roads that you're going to find in the park are paved. Okay? So this is not like the other part. This was never mining in this area. There was never logging roads in this area. So the roads that you have are the road in the park. Okay? Any questions about this?
What about cell coverage?
Cell coverage has improved a little bit, okay, but is pretty bad. So there is a cell tower here in Dunraven, okay, uh, and that covers certain parts. So very quickly, Roy, you learn where are the parking lots that you get access to cell coverage. But it's basically around some of the lodges there are Wi-Fi, and in some part of the parks, you have a line of view to one of the highest peak here, which is called Dunraven. Okay, so you can be in other areas for sure without any kind of um, any kind of telecommunication. Correct? You will have no cell phone. You will have no Wi-Fi. Uh, uh, Now, I think at one point they were talking about putting some antennas, but actually, some people like the fact that you cannot be that you got a little bit detox from being connected all the time. But indeed, that's an issue. So some areas, so you if somebody's interested to know, I can tell them exactly where you can get one of the places. For instance, if I had to call. Uh, my son or something to let him know that we're okay, then we are not in the hotel. I will go to a parking lot and text him, "Hey, we are here in this place." And I think around this area here, where you have direct line of view to this to Raven Peak, you can get some communications. Right?
What about the gas? Get gasoline, or is there any electronic charging?
I haven't been, I haven't paid too much attention to electronic charging. I don't think this is a good part for electronic charging, but
Yeah.
because of all the driving that you have to do. Uh, uh, but in all these main lodges areas, correct, and in some of these major junctions, there is always a gas station. Most of the gas stations in the park are self-service, correct, but you do need uh, to plan your trip, correct. So I make sure, and you spend a lot of time in the road, correct. Now, gasoline can be expensive, right? So I'm sorry. So places like where I stay around. I'm sorry, guys. The mouse is playing a little bit. Places that I stay, like in Silvergate and Cook City, there is a ExxonMobil station there and a couple of other stations, but the it could be 50 cents uh, higher price or $1 higher than what you get, uh, let's say, just in the main roads in Wyoming or in Montana. Okay? So gas is going to be a little bit more expensive. But in all the different junctions here, out of the loops, there is always in majority of them, there will be a gas station. Okay? But you spend, when I go with my Jeep, I have a Jeep Rubicon, which I like to take to the park. uh, Again, because it's easy to get places to put the Jeep when I need to get out of the car or park it quickly outside the road. Um, uh, I have, and many of you that have Jeep Rubicon, they don't have big tanks, and they consume a lot of gasoline. So I put a full tank of gasoline almost every day. That's how much you spend time on the road. Now,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
do you have a lot of problems with wildlife blocking the road, or?
Oh yes, for sure. So I will go to that one, that one too. Correct. That uh, you have to uh, expect that you're going to be sometimes in some buffalo or bison jams or bear jams, and or sometimes when there is the migration time in spring, they will take the road. Correct. The animals are not stupid. Correct. So you have the bison moving from the northern part of the park to the upper mountain meadows. Some of them, they go by in the road. So you may have 20 buffaloes and small herd just traveling in front of a long line of cars. Okay. So I think in this other map from the National Park Service, it shows all the different uh, details where is gasoline and all that. So all these maps you can download. Some are as they are in the National Park Service website. Some of those I have modified just to put my own commentary. Right? So all the roads are single lane mountain roads. The maximum speed limit is 45 miles an hour, and they do monitor the speed. Right? Uh, because it's single lane, they make emphasis to make sure that slow traffic. Let's say you have somebody in RV or somebody wants to go a little bit lower speed, they should use the pullouts, and there is a lot of pullouts, correct? Which are good places to park, but also are good places to let the traffic go by, correct? Because sometimes people don't want to go at the 45 miles an hour. Okay? Road
I, I
condition.
got a, I got a Yellowstone story when you have time.
Yes, of course. So road conditions can change quickly. Right? So you have to be aware that, if, for instance, during the spring or the fall, where there is all sort of weather, okay? um, some particular stretches of this loop road or the main entrance, they can be close to traffic, correct? And then suddenly, in order to get to your destination or back to where you're staying, it's double the time. Okay, so here it is, Randall. So expect heavy traffic, particularly around the main points of interest, the geothermal features, the visitor centers, uh, and also due to wildlife on the road. The bear jams, man, if you get in one of those, you better find a place to park your car and go and look at the bear because you're not going to be able to get through. Okay? Typically, the park rangers will come and try to get the people moving because you are not allowed to park on the roads. If you see a wildlife, you are not allowed to. You have to look for a parking place, correct? And that's where the four-wheel drive help or a high clear vehicle because you can park in all designated areas, right? Or outside the main road, provided all of your wheels must be outside the white line that mark the edge of the road. So you can park almost everywhere if there is space, of course, and you don't put yourself or anybody in danger. But if you can put, but you have to make sure that all your wheels are outside the white line, correct? So for more information, it's important to consult the the National Park Service website, and they give you information every time you enter the park or you get to one of these junction points in the loops. Okay, they have posts with the weather information, but you can ask the rangers. They always give you information about road closure. Uh, Weather condition for that day, so you are in the wild, correct? You need to pay attention to those things. So this is the average time uh, between the different uh, road segments, correct? That I mentioned there, either entering to the parks or the segments in the loops, and you can see here just if there is nothing, it's 30 minutes. So when you take this table, at least double it because that's what it takes. So that's it. That's what we have. So the next thing is we're going to be talking about wildlife. But before I do that, let me ask John to tell his story.
Yeah, good story regarding wildlife, right?
Yes.
So we're driving along, and then the traffic stops, and we see this bison, right, standing there next to the river.
Yes.
And here's this Chinese girl with an iPad, and she's getting like really close to it, holding it up like this, thinking that this bison is like a, I don't know, pet dog or something.
Yes.
And getting closer, I said, I told Diana, this is not a good thing, right? And so we started yelling at her, hey, not a good idea to do because that bison will attack. And she couldn't understand. So thank God, Diana can speak Mandarin. So she started yelling at her and speaking to her in Chinese. And then she finally backed off. But it was kind of a dodgy moment there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of good going on.
now nowadays the internet is full of stories about and videos about people doing stupid things, right?
Oh yeah, it's not a
In the
it's
park.
not a pet.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. What I try to avoid the heavy, the heavy tourist season, John, that start after Memorial here, correct? Because
Right.
that way the people that are there fighting a little bit with the weather and the climate, the weather conditions and the road closures are the people that are more dedicated. So those tend to be in the very early spring and in the late summer, correct? Okay. Any other comments? Or if not, we talk a little bit about wildlife here. Okay?
Yeah.
So wildlife is not uniformly distributed to the park. Some people go to Yellowstone. They expect to see bears, correct? And that's what I have that conversation with Michael. Um, uh, and but the bears and the different animals are not everywhere, correct? Uh, there is animals everywhere, but the big concentration of animals are in a particular ecosystem. Okay, so regardless of the season, most of the wildlife viewing and photography opportunities occurs in the northern part of the park. Okay, in the more open ecosystems where also the animals are more visible, correct? Where you have big valleys with grasslands, right? Like Lamar Valley here in the North Road, okay? Little America, which is another segment of glaciers and small glacier lakes and glacier deposit that is kind of open in this area here in the summer. Correct. Then there is also some of the high elevation valleys, like very famous, like the Hayden Valley or Pelican, uh, uh, the Pelican Valley. Correct. So those can be devoid of animals during uh, the winter, but as soon as they start the pre-migration, those animals here from the lower valleys will move into here. Okay, so as you can see here, I have highlighted the main road to see the animals. Okay, so if you spend a lot of time here in the south, where there is a lot of the geothermal features, so some of the basin, you can see some animals, but the likelihood, for instance, of seeing bears is somewhat reduced. And further south here, as you go towards um, the Grand Teton National Park, correct? Uh, that area there, they heavily forested. So if the animals are there, they are not as visible as the open areas on the north, correct? That is also elevation changes, correct? It's, the lower part of the park is in the north. Okay? So the best time to photograph and view animals are in the spring and fall. I particularly like the spring because you have the so-called baby explosion. So all the animals are, uh, a lot of the bisons are giving birth, all the ungulates, the elk, and the antelopes, etc., etc. Correct? There is a lot more babies, and with more babies, there is a lot more predation. Right? And the predator has to be out looking to feed their own babies. Right? So the chances of seeing a lot of the quintessential species here is in the spring. Now, during the fall, you have another set of activities. Correct? So Michael, for instance, ended looking looking at some of the elk in the fall, and then you have the rot. Okay, so there is a lot of activity at that time as well. But my preferred time is always the spring. Okay, so uh, we talk about the not being uniformly distributed, and that's typical that you will see of all animals. Correct. After you spend a couple of days in Yellowstone and you and hopefully with this presentation it help you, you start recognizing the different ecosystems, correct? So you're looking for grizzlies, you're going to be looking in a specific area. You're looking for black bear, you're going to be looking in a specific area, right? Animals are not predictable, but they follow some patterns. And once you recognize the patterns, okay, um, then you have better chance to see them. Okay. Now most of the photography is done from the road. Okay. If you go hiking, which there are fantastic hikes, okay, the places that you can go, the chances of seeing animals and photographing animals is less. Um, for once, the animals sometimes concentrate around the roads because it's the shortest place to travel from one place to another, and also because uh, animals fear humans more when they are on foot. Right? Uh, so uh, uh, if you are going for photography, uh, yes, you can have some hikes, and there, are, as I said, fantastic hike. But if your objective is to take photography of wildlife, you are good with staying on in the roads and just travel the roads up and down until you see an animal or you see another group of photographers. Okay? Now, there are many pullouts and places that are frequented by photographers because they are good lookout for animals. Correct? Uh, and so knowing the names of those places is important. Right? So in the northern part, for instance, in the Lamar Valley, you can see here in this detailed map, right? And some of these are available on the internet, right? That many of these places have already had names, correct? So they can tell you, hey, where do you see a bighorn sheep? And they say, well, this is the Yellowstone picnic area. So there's a specific location that you need to go because a lot of the people are going to exchange information with you, but you need to be familiar with the with the location, correct? So the maps that you get from the National Park Services sometimes has some of his name, but in the internet you can find park with a lot of these particular names, right? Like the Buffalo Ranch, where I'm sorry again, my mouse is moving. Okay, or the Soda Butte, or the Footbridge. All these are places that are known by people, so they can make recommendation. Hey, I just saw a, a mountain goat in Baronet. Then you know where to go. Correct. Now, important when you want to visit here. Sometimes talking to the other people is the best way to find information. Typically, the park rangers, they give you an indication, like I have given here to you, about the best location to see, or best road, best chance to see some animals, but they never give you good detail. Hey, go to this place and you're going to find a den of a fox. That kind of detailed information, they typically don't want to give, because they don't want to create stress on the animal. Okay? You learn about those by other people that are in the same time with you in the park. Okay. So having said that, it's important that to remember to follow all the regulation with regard to minimum viewing distance. For instance, John, you were talking about bison, correct? For all the animals, there is a minimum viewing distance. And when you enter the park, they give you all those, right? So I think for some of the ungulates, it's only like 40, 40 feet, right? But certainly for things like wolf, or certainly for bear, you have to be at least 100 feet away from that animal, right? Uh, as you indicated, not always is followed, but they are putting themselves and other to risk, and putting the animal on risk as well. Okay. Okay. So any question here, guys?
No, no.
And you let me know, because you know I like to get into the details.
Yeah, Gustavo, they have wolves back in Yellowstone now, don't they?
Yes, yes. They reintroduced the wolf in 1995, and I actually I have a single slide about wolf. Okay? So now I'm going to show you some detail maps and recommendation for different species. Right? Because when people go, and John, you probably were like that. Like the first time I went to Yellowstone, where can I see bears? Right? And people want to see grizzlies. Right? Not only bears, but I want to see and in this map here, I basically indicated the best out of the main roads that are good for wildlife. What are the best locations for either grizzly or black bear? Because as I mentioned before, and it's the first bullet here, uh, black bears and grizzly prefer different ecosystems, correct? Black bears, you typically find them in wooded areas, correct? Um, while grizzly bears, and David can tell you that, they prefer more open areas with meadows and grasslands. Correct? So the open valleys of the north, that's a place that you're going to find uh, grizzlies. Correct? Now that changes in Yellowstone very quickly. Correct? So if you go to places like Lamar Valley, which is very good for grizzlies, correct? You can see that if you go in Lamar Valley, and immediately as you go into Tower Roosevelt area, immediately you get into black bear habitat. Correct? So you can be in this area watching some black bears, and then just drive 10 minutes and you're going to be in grizzly territory. Right? So in spring, the female black bears and the grizzly bears with cubs have learned. Remember that they have been a national park for more than 100 years. Okay? They have learned that proximity to the road brings safety to the cubs. Okay? Because the boar male bears are looking for opportunity to mate in the spring, and the only way to for the females to get to us to get into to be in the fertile cycle is for the cubs to go away or die. Correct. So they only in the grizzlies on black bear, they only get fertile every 3 years. Okay, so they have the year that. Okay, but they have learned that if they are close to the road, right, they are not going to be chased by the males, and their cubs have more chance of surviving. So that also gives an opportunity for us to be able to photograph the black bears and the grizzly. Now, these are female bears, which can be very protective of the animal, correct? So you need to be aware of that situation too. Right? Now, also in the spring, the male bears uh, can find uh, animals that have been killed during the winter, and as they defrost, they become accessible for predation, or there is kills from wolf. If that happen within an area that you can view them, okay, those carcasses can be defended by the male grizzly. Now, the park typically don't intervene with that. So if their carcasses are away from the road more than the 100 yards, they probably leave them there. But if the animal die in the road or close to the road, they will move it because obviously they want to have a dangerous animal interacting with human. But if you have in one of these valleys any carcass or an animal that die during the winter, okay, the grizzlies in particular can be rather possessive of that, and they will defend and visit that carcass. So until that carcass is fully consumed, that is an area that basically will attract a lot of predators and birds of prey that we will talk about later on. So, any questions with regard to bears?
Mm,
Mm,
it's not.
I stay away from 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch them safe. Right? I mean, I have got very close to some of those. My recommendation here is follow what if there is a big bear jam. Typically, there is some volunteer uh, park rangers or the regular park rangers that will establish a perimeter around, let's say, a female bear with cubs. Correct. Now they do know the temperaments of all the different bears, right? And they will, but basically stay behind the line. So typically when I'm photographing bears, if I see the ranger, correct, I will actually try to put myself with a long telephoto behind the ranger, correct? so
Yeah.
so for all photographers with long telephoto, that's the best way to stay. Now nowadays with a lot of photographers, actually the photographers also help to control the crowds a little bit because we basically establish a line of people with big cameras and big lenses, and then the general public typically say, "Hey, these guys are not getting closer." Then definitely not better to get closer. Okay, all right.
Uh, that does bring up one question: is a lot of parks are now charging people with the bigger camera lenses. You think
Actually,
they will?
Randall, that's very topical
Why?
because, well,
Why?
actually, it's very topical because it was about, I think it was about a week ago that they removed that.
Oh, good, good.
So they were asking people with what they consider professional equipment in all the national parks to have to apply for a special permit. That is no longer the case unless your crew has more than 6 person.
Okay.
Okay, or if you have a professional filming crew with 6 person, but so people, and also it was they discourage people to basically make commercial benefits like YouTubers from whatever photograph or videos taken in the park. That's no longer the case.
Mm,
Unfortunately, a lot of people lobby Congress, and I see the Congress passed eliminated that regulation. So we're good, Randall.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, so I show you here some photos. Okay, uh, here when I show you a little bit more photos. So obviously, grizzlies are the one of the things that people like to see. And if you find a grizzly bear with cubs, that is the jackpot. Okay, uh, so this grizzly here on the left, That was a very famous uh, bear that with the cops in a place called Obsidian Cliff, right? And and she stayed with the cops in this area for more than a week, correct? So when you know that a bear frequent an area with the cops, you will see the some of the professional wildlife photographers will basically park the car in that pull out that is close by, waiting for her to emerge. And that year, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, she was very compliant and showed herself many times. Right. So the bear on the and you will find out that these bears are well known. A lot of these bears have tags. Okay, so the postures of the ranger will depend on the knowledge that they have about a specific bear. Okay, so this is in the um, this bear was photographed around this area here.
Hmm.
This bear here, which was named Blondie. I mean, she was a top adult female, okay, that was visible for many years in an area around. Let me go back here to the map around the Yellowstone Lake, and that's this other area which is very good for grizzlies, right? And she will, you know, roam around the lake and bring incredible opportunities to photograph her drinking in the water with reflections in the water, just walking around looking for fish. Okay. And because she wanted to stay away from some of the big males. Okay? And I think she tagged with her mother way past the cub stage. But if you find grizzlies and you find grizzly with cubs, then you hit your jackpot. Right? Now, black bears, as I said, more in forested areas, right? And some of these bears uh, have that I have photographed that you see the photography here are from this area here around a tower, correct? This area is very prolific with uh, uh, black bears. Actually, my first black bear was from that area, and my first visit to the park. Uh, so, but through the years, I have seen them. Some of these, you sometimes see the males, and here you can see a male just taking a nap, using a big log as a pillow, correct? Or you see these females that also got quite used to humans, and they bring the cubs nearby. So in the spring, you have great opportunity to photograph bear cubs, correct? Some of these uh, generations of bear have received even the same name. So, for instance, me that I have been going to the park for many years, there is the famous Rosie, and they talk about Rosie, but this Rosie have been three different roses over the last 3 years, but it's basically the same female, one female in which that territory was inherited by another female, uh, and then they gave the same name, and she have used that same area basically to protect their cubs. Right? Um, Important to know, although all the photos that I show you here are from black bears that are black, that in the Yellowstone ecosystem there is also other colors of brown of black bears, so brown, cinnamon, very light color bears, etc., etc. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about the other thing that people want to see, which is bisons. Right? And again, I have a map here for some of you. Uh, that shows all the different areas where you can see the bison. Okay, the bison congregate in herds composed of females and mature individuals of both sexes and calf. Okay, the mature bulls they sometimes congregate in small bachelor groups or live solitary life. So uh, so you either see some males or sometimes you see only females and immatures and calf. Okay? The bulls only join the herd during the rut. Okay? And the rut take place mostly in August. Okay? So that's one of the things to go to the park. If you want to see the rut and you want to see the buffalo fighting, then you have to go through the busy part of the time in the park, which is in the summer. Okay? During winter, the bison congregate around the geothermal areas. So some of the geothermal areas here in the uh, west side of the park also provide the bison with refuge because the ground is hot. Okay, and so sometimes they get protection by staying around those thermal areas, particularly the big bulls like to do that during the winter. Okay, now the great majority of the herds travel either to the lower parks in the Lamar Valley and the parks in the north, or they get outside the park into particularly into Montana through the Gardiner area, and then sometimes bring them into conflict with the ranchers of cattle outside the park. Okay? The bison calf are informally named red dogs. They are typically born in late April and early May. So if you get into the spring season, you will see a lot of the herds in the northern part with a lot of these calf. A female bison and cow give one typically give birth to one calf every year. Okay? After the birth of the cows and the calf migrate from the lower valley, okay, to the higher valleys such as Hayden and Pelican. So they go from the pastures here in the lower valleys to the high elevation meadows and the big valleys in the middle of the park. So here are some photos of of bison. Okay, I like to get some of the details on some of the male. This actually photo here with the snow. Actually, that was a visit that I did uh, during the late, very early spring, okay, in April, and there was basically a lot of snow. Basically, it was still part of the winter in Yellowstone. So these are some of the photos of the red dogs of the calf. Right, they are super interesting to photograph, and they get what they call the zoomies, right? And they jump around, they pretend to fight with each other. And you can see this one here has still attached the umbilical cord, right? And you can, if you go into that time of the year, you can even see some of them being born. All right, wolf. So, so the main areas, these are the main areas uh, for wolf. Again, the northern valleys, okay, and the wolves are even more particulars of the places that you can see them. Okay, since the reintroduction of the wolf, some uh, um, gray wolves were introduced from Canada in 1995. Uh, Yellowstone has become what is most probably the best place in the world to see wild wolf. Okay, because unlike Canada, there's a lot of empty spaces, and there is a lot of prey for the wolves in these open spaces. So if you want to see wolf in the wild, probably Yellowstone is the best place. Okay? Most wolf encounters and viewing are done from long distances. These valleys are huge, correct? And because the air is very clear, sometimes you don't realize that you're watching something that is happening long, long, long distance away from you. So for that reason, I do recommend to bring, in addition to your camera equipment, to bring some binoculars or preferably a spotting scope to watch a wolf. Okay? Long telephotos with converters are necessary for wolf photography. However, you need to be aware of haze and atmospheric distortion, particularly since you're going to be in a valley where there is a lot of bodies of water, rivers, and small glacial lakes, etc., etc. That can be a problem. Okay, since the air can you have a lot of haze and different air masses with different densities and temperatures. Okay, so sometimes what you see is that sometimes getting away from the road where there is also the paved road that is also a different temperature, getting away from the cars gaining some height, particularly in Lamar Valley, climbing a small hill, help because they put you away from the bodies of water, at least some elevation above the body of water or above the road where you have a lot of haze. Yeah? There is a lot of people that they dedicate their vacation to watch the wolf, and that's what they do. They only do wolf watching. Right? So these so-called wolf watchers or wolfers, informally known as wolfers, are typically very helpful and provide good information about the location of wolf. If there is a wolf that have been located by the rangers or the volunteers with radio collar, um, or they have been located by the wolf watchers, they typically stay on that wolf for quite a while. Okay, so uh, they provide you a lot of information about the wolf. Sometimes the name of the wolf, in the case, is a number, right? Or the individual patch to which this wolf behaves. So they give you a lot of information. And many times they allow you to view the wolf using their scope. So sometimes if you want to photograph a wolf, it's good um, to talk to these people, and they will help you to locate the wolf. Correct, but it's important to be cautious when interacting with the wolf watchers. Okay, I have seen a lot of uh, situation there, and Jeff always mentioned that people stop by with the cars and say, "What are you watching?" And then you tell them, "I'm watching a bluebird," and say, I just want to watch wolf, and they keep going, correct? Or they expect that the wolf watchers are going to let them use the private spotting scope. They normally do out of the goodwill, but it's not necessarily given that they would do it. Okay, so be cautious, be polite. Okay? So best opportunities to see wolf are when the wolf are when the dens of the wolf, which happen also around the spring, are visible. Sometimes the dens are in the side of the mountain, and they become quite visible, and they obviously there's a lot of transit in and out of the den. Wolf has so-called rendezvous areas, which basically areas where the whole pack congregate when before they go on a hunt or when they come back from a hunt. A lot of will watch you know where the different park rendezvous areas are, and obviously around the carcass. So if you have a carcass, that's great opportunity. Now, good photography of wolf is extremely difficult. Right? So for many years, that photo that you see there, well, my closest uh, good, relatively good quality photos of wolf. Not because I don't see them. I saw them almost in every trip, saw them multiple times in the trip, but because you know how it is. When I was a wolf will show up, I have my camera with different settings, and then I miss the opportunity to do that. Correct? Or they don't come close enough. So for many years, that was my best photo. Actually, it's a photo of a very famous wolf. And if you look for stories about the wolf of Yellowstone, there is some fantastic books and audiobooks about the wolf of Yellowstone. And this wolf that I show you here was a very famous female wolf that you can see here. She was the alpha female, and as you can see here was radio color. There are other resources, and also you can see the distribution of wolf is very important. Since the reintroduction of wolf, there have been a wolf project and they have been tracking the changes in the park since the reintroduction of the wolf, but also changing the dynamics of the wolf population. So every year before I go to Yellowstone or when I go to Yellowstone, I try to locate the uh, um, the map that is prepared after the winter survey, okay, which is done sometimes a combination of radio color and by from the roads I'm playing, and then they give you the name and location of the packs, right? And they all the packs have different names, right? So this is a version of the 2021. Sometimes you can find plastified version of these type of maps in some of the main um, uh, visitor centers. Right now, through the years, as you can see, uh, there have been evolution of the park territories. And actually, as I was preparing this presentation, I found this um, map that I found fascinating, which talks about where are the different uh, uh, regions of all the park. You can see in the north of the park, there have been a lot of interaction between the packs, and you can see some of the packs have changed names because the pack come and go and disappear, get overcome by other packs. So you can see here, for instance, that a lot of areas here, like the Lamar Valley, for instance, have many different packs, right? And then other areas that pack, uh, like the Molly pack, have been established there with a single generation of wolf from since 1997, right? And they have stayed there. And this pack, this wolf here, has specialized on hunting buffalo, okay? So you can see these animals, they after they adapted to the ecosystem, have territories, and they have a special food prey uh, that they do prefer. Some other packs, like this one here in the south, these are in the forest area, so almost impossible to see. So you can see here the location of the pack in relationship to the road, and that gives to some of the maps that I put for you together. Okay, there is also this. I found this telemetry map, which is telemetry data, where the telemetry data um, have been recorded. And you can see again the distribution is not uniform, it's sparse, but in particular here in the North Valley. So you want to see wolf, that's the way you need to keep watching. So I'm going to stop here for a second, Chuck, in case you want to acknowledge. So I see in my iPad here that a lot of people have uh, welcomed you back and give you some contributions, including some of the members of the panel.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yes.
It's been real nice. People pushing things, and yeah. No, I feel like we'll let you go on, and when you're finished, we'll run with people talking.
Exactly. All right, so I keep going here. So these are some of my favorite wolf pictures. Actually, my backlog with wolf actually ended, like I think it was in 2017, when uh, I had the privilege of seeing actually a wolf hunt very close by. This is a relatively young, immature wolf that actually crossed in front of my Jeep, went into the road. I I was able to take my tripod, my long telephoto, okay, set it up, and I thought that it was not going to do anything more than just crossing the road. But to my surprise, the actual this wolf was in a hunt. There was this little calf here that was separated a little bit from the cows, okay, and he was targeting that particular one, and in no time, as I was setting in, a wolf chase started. Correct. So I was actually with the 600 with a teleconverter, right? Because that's the way I have it set up all the time, and I think it was on my D 850, and this wolf started chasing the cow, and I was, it was like going after that, taking as many photos as I could, and you can see here in order. First of the wolf as he was running, uh, trying to catch up with the calf, okay, and eventually getting close. The calf actually was clever, as he was almost close to start dipping in the back. The calf uh, was able to zigzag and turn around, and actually at that point, this has lasted long enough that some of the females find out what was going on and start raising charging towards this wolf, and actually, this wolf was no harm. Sorry, this calf was no harm and managed to escape. Right,
Oh,
but
good.
he managed to give me this incredible opportunity, and the photos. This time I didn't screw it up. I have the camera with the right setting, and I so was able to follow with the 600 millimeter plus a 1.4 converter the whole action, correct? So you can imagine immediately when I went and did some checking on the photo, when I found out they were reasonably in focus, and I managed to even get, the wolf running, or the wolf and the cow, and the wolf and the calf, correct? That I was extremely happy.
It was
Now,
great.
that year I was lucky because the same wolf, another 2 days later, okay, I was late in the park with my wife, and I saw that wolf going across the valley. Almost there was nobody in the park anymore because it was close to I think it was close to 8 p.m. Right? And the wolf came, jumping to the road behind my jeep, and actually I have again set it up here with the 600, right? And I was shooting here at 1,000 millimeters, correct, with a 1.7, which is not my preferred converter. And I was actually, it gave me just the chance as he passed behind for me to support that telephoto on the top of my mirror because I already had stepped out of the car and take what the only photo that I could take, which is the close up of the wolf. Right?
Oh,
So this wolf was roughly like maybe 30 yards away from me. So at 1,000 millimeters, you can see I even uh, chop the ears. I couldn't get, I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. Correct. And I tell you, if you are looking through your viewfinder and the wolf look at you, you pay attention. Correct. But it was a wonderful experience. All right, all right.
fox. Yeah.
So we talk about other mammals, okay? Uh, because Yellowstone is uh, home of the largest concentrations of mammals in the lower 48. Basically, every Native American mammal that existed in this ecosystem is present today after the introduction of the wolf. Okay, there are 67 mammal species that live within the park. Uh, there is a great variety of ecosystems that support all the different species, provide a great opportunity to photograph some of these elusive animals. And because, of course, these have been a national park for more than 100 years, the animals are not that fearful of humans, correct? So you have a chance to get and see some of these. All right. So in addition to like bear, bison, and wolf, uh, Yellowstone is notably for other mammals, and there is very complex predator-prey relationship between the different species. For example, since the introduction of the wolf, correct, in 1995, the behavior of some other predator, like for instance the coyotes, uh, population has decreased because they get uh, they have been displaced by the wolf, but the fox population has become more abundant. Okay, in terms of the prey, elk used to run the park
There you go.
everywhere, but since the introduction of the wolf, there is the so-called environment of fear. So the elk have retreated more into into they come into the open areas, but they tend to stay a lot around the wooded area as well during the daytime. So there is more chance for other animals and even different species of tree to regenerate because they are not being munched but constantly by the elk. So the whole ecosystem has changed dramatically since the introduction of the wolf, and if you can believe it, is a little bit more in balance now. So this is some of my favorite photos of wolf. Obviously, uh, sorry, of foxes. You can see some the close up of foxes. So in terms of where you can find foxes, let me show you here. These roads here around in the road towards Cook City. sometimes you can see that for close up of a fox was actually taken within the actual outer limits of Cook City, okay? And they are and these fox that you see here was taking some of the males coming from the more mountainous areas, coming out of the northeast entrance, right? But there are places where you can find them congregated. Again, if you know where they are, that's where you need to keep an eye on that, and that's what I produce this map, right? Uh, Coyotes tend to be more in the open grassland. That's why they compete with the wolf. So Lamar Valley, Little America, correct? Some of the Hayden Valley, you can see some of the coyotes. Okay? So here are some photos of coyotes. Right? This actually is uh, uh, a photo taken uh, during the fall when there is already some snow, and both foxes and coyotes, you see them doing this kind of behavior called mousing, which is they are looking for balls and mice, okay? Uh, and they basically listen to the ground, and when they detect one, they go and jump and dive head first, trying to get that small parcel of animal. Okay, these as many of you know, coyotes travel in pairs, right? Not large pack like the wolf. Okay, so this was a coyote that was actually looking for roadkill. So, and that allows me to take a photo using a beanbag from inside the car. Uh, some coyotes that were basically growling at each other because they wanted to take possession of I think it was a small ground squirrel that had become part of roadkill. And of course, here's a male coyote uh, um, in the spring when there is a lot of flowers in the valley. Other animal that people look is try to look for badgers, right? And with anything in Yellowstone, you have to be patient, right? So you can see here, I have the opportunity to be very close to Bayer Den two times since I have been visiting Yellowstone. Correct. This photo here that you see on the left is actually taken many years ago in 2007, and many of the photographers were staying out this location because we knew there was a Bayer then, and eventually you were there long enough, they will come, and the mama will come and nurse the badgers even outside the den. Okay, but it took me almost well exactly 10 years to find another, or for me to be in the presence of another den that was visible from the side of the road. Right, and so this is that now in 2017 when there was another den almost at the same location, very close. Right, and then after staking out this location for day after day after day with other photographers, one afternoon with wonderful light, this female buyer came back with some snake, and then all the cops came out and started playing with each other. You can see one here had come and pushed this one out of the hole of the den, and this one is running down the hill. Okay? Eventually, all the three cops and the mom were out, and this was wonderful. Actually, when I photographed when I made these photos, there was a crew from PBS on the nature, right? And actually, I saw the same scene that I have photographed in one of the nature documentaries in PBS. Okay, any questions, guy?
Mm.
I guess with all the coyotes and wolves, you won't see any prairie dogs. 'Cause
No,
that's
there is plenty of in this area, Randall. The main rodent here is not the traditional prairie dog that you're familiar here in Colorado. Is actually some different of I think it's the Uinta ground squirrel, and they are everywhere.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the coyotes and the foxes go after those and many other uh, voles and mice and chipmunks. But during the spring, you see those Uinta ground squirrels everywhere, right? And that's why you see them, particularly, during daytime when they have cubs or kittens, okay? You see them because they have to go on hunt, and then during the springtime you see them during the day. So another animal that people want to see sometimes is moose. Okay,
Yeah.
again, location for moose is in that part. Moose prefer forested area. Okay, and this year, this is now almost 15 years ago. Okay, I was able to photograph a female moose with a calf, correct, around one of the rivers, and then more recently, I think this is already with the C9. There was this immature moose that was close to the entrance of Cool City uh, that I was able to photograph from the car. That was basically taking a close up. Okay? I believe this was done with the 200 to 400 millimeter. Right? Uh, but uh, now people that want to photograph moose exclusively, they prefer to go during the fall because the moose, also the rot of the moose is a little bit toward the early part of September, correct? And people sometimes prefer for moose to visit the Tetons, which tend to be a sometimes better place for moose. Okay, but there is moose in Yellowstone, right? And as you can see here, great opportunities. But during the spring, which these two photos are from the spring, obviously the males will not have uh, any horns, right? But you may find a female with a calf. Bighorn sheep, right? Bighorn sheep also you can find in the park. This is one of my favorite photos of bighorn sheep. Uh, like the bisons, they congregate during the spring into bachelor groups. So all the males are going to be together. By that time, you will not see that much fighting among them. But if you go like in the early winter, late fall, then you will find them fighting for the female. Okay, so this photo was taken in 2011. Okay? Elk, again, another favorite. This was a target for from Michael. Michael wanted to see some elk. Actually, this is taken in Mammoth. If you look here, there is a car park. So sometimes some of these bulk elk tend to take the herd to some of the visitor centers, correct? To the grasses that are irrigated around the visitor center, because also it's a defense against the predator, but also a defense against a lot of the other male. Now, this is the rot. This is uh, uh, in mid-September. It can be very dangerous, and every year many
Ah,
many people get gore by these bulls around these visitor centers. Right? Now in the spring, as you see a lot of river crossing, which is fantastic for all these animals. Correct, and this is a female that after doing one of those river crossing that was rather intense with the calf here being dragged by the torrents of the river. Okay, after the calf managed to cross, then decide to feed the calf in front of everybody there. So one of my favorite features of elk. Um, there there are two species uh, of deer, the mule deer and the white tail. Actually, both of those can be found. The most common one is the mule deer, which is if you see some photos. Actually, this photo that you see here on the left, it was a newborn, and actually this was close to the cabin that I have rented. My wife and I were in our. We typically go very early in the morning, come back for a lunch, have a siesta, and then go out again in the afternoon. Right. So we came back to the cabin and find out that outside the kitchen window there was a female, the mule deer that had just given birth, to these twins. They typically they give birth to two, and I was able to photograph these from the inside the cabin.
Wow.
Yeah. Then on the right side, this is taken in an early summer visit. As you can see here, two males in their bachelor group with with their horn in velvet. Antelopes. So certain areas of these open grasslands on the north and these open uh, valleys, right? That's where the antelope congregate. Antelopes used to be very skittish and difficult to see in Yellowstone, but through the years they have become very used to. And during the spring, you can have the calf. So this is from an encounter in the Lamar Valley where there were again twin calf uh, that and this was running around. The twins going all over the place with the wonderful flowers in the background. So it was almost like picture perfect, literally, places to photograph um, uh, the antelopes. Uh, but there is also smaller animals, correct? This is yellow-bellied marmot, correct? Uh, they if you look for areas where there is a lot of rocks and that's where they live, okay? Or in this case, a red squirrel in the more forested areas. Okay, so let's take a break here for
All right.
questions, and then we go and see some of the birds. We are almost more than half of through the presentation, guys. So any question and that allows me to take some water.
Yeah, I got to run the bathroom.
That's all right. So go ahead. Any question for you guys? You, Randall, and Roy, did you see anything there?
It's amazing how you're getting all the animals squared away. I like this. So,
Yes.
No kangaroos.
how many times
No
have you been
kangaroos.
to Yellowstone?
No kangaroos yet here.
Uh,
But you can see I have the maps, and I will make this presentation available for some of you that are planning a trip. Correct? Um, I have put where I have watched them, when I have seen them through the years, because it's all about the different environments. Correct? So for all the different animals I have been talking about, there is a corresponding map. And if somebody wants to see something specific and want to ask me, I tell you, I could be a guide tour in Yellowstone because I have so many years. And of course,
I believe that wolves are changing the landscape in Yellowstone.
definitely,
Or the
mostly
rivers are
because
moving even and things like that because of the predation.
yes,
Well, the best story or I saw on video was there was two buffaloes, a pack of wolves that came, and one buffalo hit the other buffalo so he could escape, and the one that was knocked down was attacked by the wolves. So, yeah, they're
yes. So Roy, for instance, here in the northern area in the Lamar Valley, correct? I told you about the elk, correct? So before the bison, uh, and particularly the elk, correct, uh, will come to the valley all the time. I'm sorry. Okay, actually, let me go back to that map. Okay? They will come to the valley all the time, and they will, they will eat all the grasses, but they will also eat some other plants like willows. Willow is a type of basically um, riverine bush type of plants, which is favored by the moose. Okay, but if the elk was there present all the time, the willows will not grow, and therefore you will not find uh, 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 the moose coming into eating the willows. But the other animal that likes the willow is the beavers. Okay? So beavers were almost absent for all these areas. As soon as the wolves were introduced and that kind of environment of fear was reestablished so that the animals will not be predating all the time, will be eating the grass all the time, or eating the saplings of the different bushes all the time. the beavers came back. Okay, and with the beavers coming back to some of the rivers, okay, they create the dams, and with that, so all there will be ponds, and then there will be more dogs. So the introduction of that so-called keystone species, right, transformed the whole environment.
Mm.
And I told you, it also impacted the coyotes. The amount of coyotes had diminished dramatically. The wolves don't like the coyotes. If a pack of wolves get across some coyotes, they will try to kill them. Right? And that
It's such a
benefited
surprise.
the foxes. Foxes were not that common in Yellowstone anymore, but now they are more common. Right? So there is some sort of balance that get established. So all these animals like the coyote have not disappeared. You still see them regularly, but not in the same number. They are not the top canine. Okay? They're not the top canine. They are one of the canines that are in that area. Okay? All right. So now that Chuck is back. Any other question, guys? Let's go back, finish this, showing some of the birds. So around 300 bird species have been sighted in Yellowstone. Of these, about 150 nest in the park. Okay. Uh, Yellowstone and Teton National Park are very good places for viewing gray owls. As a matter of fact, uh, the Tetons and Yellowstone are almost the southernmost place in the lower 48 where you can see gray owls. Okay? Again, everything benefits from the multitude of ecosystem. And so for that reason, there is a great variety of raptors. Okay? You can find sometimes in the same location bald eagles and golden eagles. Okay? And just you turn around, there is an osprey. Okay? They can see the osprey can be easily seen in these open areas perching along the cottonwoods of the Lamar Valley at Luke Creek. And then in the Luke Creek area, there is a famous golden eagle nest in one of the cliffs. Okay, so you know what you are looking for. Okay, then you typically can see them. Okay, so for instance, Randall, you were talking about these ground squirrels, these Uinta ground squirrels. Okay, when there is a big explosion of Uinta ground squirrels, Uinta ground squirrels during the spring, you will see, and I show you some photos. Sometimes the eagles, and let me go back to the eagles here, getting all the way to the ground, perching in small rocks, so basically eye level, looking for those squirrels. Right? So here you can see, for instance, some photos of uh, bald eagles, right? And in this case, I show you here some details of the osprey. There are several osprey nests that are visible. Okay, so I show you this a little bit in reverse, but let's go back here to owls. People look for owls. So these are some of my uh, preferred photos of the owl, including the one that I showed before of a close up of the owls. Owls, these great owls here, the two on the left and in the middle. Um, they do prefer within forested area when there is an open clearance in between. That's their preferred habitat, and they will perch around the edge of the forest, looking for basically voles and mice, right? And they are quite tolerable people if you behave correctly. Now, this one here, there are some great owl nests that are well known. This actually taken in the uh, around the living quarters of the park rangers in the Mammoth Spring area. Right, so knowing where the animals are help quite a bit. Right, so
Yeah.
it's all about the golden eagles. This is one of my preferred golden eagles. Actually, one of the first time that I was successful in taking a in-flight photo of a eagle that was actually hunting for prey around in the high elevation meadows in the um, Hayden Valley, and he was going around and around, and you can see even with the other cameras, you can see sometimes some of the photography. Right? Dogs. So these are other of the very popular dogs in this area. For instance, here on the right, sorry, You have a Harlequin dog, which is a sea dog, but it goes inland to where there is rapids, right? To actually nest, and as soon as they nest and the little one hatch, they go away. So for a brief period of few weeks during the spring, these dogs that live mostly towards the sea or in the sea, they come inland, they go to a rapid area. So there is a place called Lee Harvey uh, uh, Rapids, where every year they tend to be around that area, right? Or uh, these dogs. The moment escaped the name. Uh, okay, when they come, they nest in a particular glacier pond, and then you would find these ones all the time. Okay, uh, I see here we have an American kestrel that was nesting in one of the aspens, and they have so you look for abandoned woodpecker holes, and sometimes you find the woodpecker, sometimes you find that other birds use that hole, like the kestrel, right? So there's a photo of a kestrel close to the nest, right? And on the right side you have the yellow-headed uh, black bear, which I like that photo. I was actually waiting for some wolf, and these guys were coming here doing their display song. And of course, because it was the spring, there was a lot of flower. So I like to, I said, oh, let me see if I can get a photo of them with the flowers in the background. Uh, Cranes. So these are the sandhill cranes, right? There are several ponds where the cranes nest every year. There's a lot of predation by coyotes, actually, of the cranes' eggs, right? So we kept repeating. And one evening here, very late in the evening on the spring, not only we had some cranes, but we had some dancing also happening there at that time. Another favorite of Yellowstone is the trumpeter swan. Okay, and nothing more beautiful and majestic than swan. Okay, and if you get it in good light, it creates some fantastic images.
Hmm.
Okay? All sort of small birds. Actually, uh, you know, the middle photo here. This is a brewer's black bear, okay, a male that was displaying, and there were a bunch of photographies. Actually, this is when we were waiting for that um, buyer female to go back to the den. And of course, you have to do something in the big times, right? So we say, this bear want to be photographed. And I told the other photographer, okay, I only photograph if you jump into that rock with a color. And then the bear came and jumped into the rock. So here sometimes it's the perch that makes the photo, right? Uh, During the spring, also you have big migration of bluebirds passing by, again looking for nesting places. One of the favorite places to photograph, or these relatively rare woodpeckers. So quickly here, just to finish, some landscape and geothermals. Obviously, there is more than wildlife, right? And it's a grandiose place. So if you are a landscape photographer, when you are not there's not that many animals, then you can do some photography. So this is Yellowstone Lake, which is the highest, um, the largest high altitude lake in the world. Okay, and you can see here it developed like it froze in top of that. So this is late in the spring, so you have like a pack ice coming into in top of Yellowstone. So I thought that this was a very interesting photo. I use that as my uh, you know background in my computer. Obviously, there is the uh, canyon of the Yellowstone River. Okay? Uh, so Yellowstone has also a relatively well-sized canyon, okay, that rival in beauty the Grand Canyon, correct? So this is the so-called fall. So this is water coming out of the Yellowstone Lake, and you can see all these highly altered volcanic rock erode relatively quickly, correct? And then this is in the canyon area of the park, right? And and these altar rock that have been eroded produce some fantastic colors. So plenty of opportunity. This is one of my favorite photos also from a place called Calcite Springs, the um, downstream end um, of the Yellowstone Canyon, right? Uh, Almost getting into tower, right? When you see the juxtaposition here against some volcanic rocks and the landscape of the mountains in the back, and then you see the river, and then you can see even the smoke coming from some of the geothermal features around the river. Obviously, photographing the geothermal areas is fascinating, right? There great opportunity for both interesting landscapes, correct, around the geothermal area, but also close-ups. I am particularly, many of you know that I'm a geologist by profession, so uh, spending some time here looking at the geothermal features. I do not do as much photography as I do, but that I did in the past because I have been there many times. But they create great opportunities for photography. Right? And you can see here they have all sort of colors, which are basically the different type of microbes that have adapted to this hot water. And of course, here in the middle, uh, you have Old Faithful. Correct? References. These are some of the books that you can have. So there's these two books I do recommend if you want to get into the detail. They basically talk uh, about the park and how the park changed from the 1800s when the park was founded and all the things that happened. It's funny to see the same places that you can visit today, but with people from 1910 or where the cars were first allowed into the park. And of course, if you are interested in the geology, which is fantastic, there this describes the details. Uh, Information about the geology of Yellowstone. Now, if you look for inspiration, these four books from Tom Murphy, which is a local Montana photographer. Okay, he photographed Yellowstone through the years. So, if you want inspiration or looking for what you want, things that you can do, you can. I own these books, so and sometimes before I travel, I go to the books and try to get myself inspired. Obviously, there are many. Um, Special editions of Yellowstone from National Geographic. That is a tremendous uh, uh, source of inspiration. This is a very famous photo from photographers that was the caretaker of Yellowstone that inspired me almost 40 years ago to become a nature photographer.
Yep.
So finally here, equipment considerations, right? Because this, after all, is what we want to talk, gear. Okay? So I do recommend to have two camera bodies. So typically nowadays I taking the C8 and the C9. Okay, and mostly just to minimize changing the lens in the field and bringing dust to your sensor. Okay, um, I definitely take the longest focal length you got and convert it. I remember telling Michael, take your 800, you're going to need it. And he sent me for that after that. Okay? And take the converters, both the 1.4 and the 2.8. Okay? Because you're going to be photographing from long, long distances along valleys. Right? You should take also a mid-range telephoto because there is a lot of things that happen in the road, correct? When So, and for these big bisons and deer that get into the road when they are migrating, the Randall, the 100 to 400, that's the ideal length for that. Right? The 180 and 600 also is a great length for that. Right?
Yeah.
Take some wide angle and wide angle zoom for your landscape. Correct? Tripod. Definitely, you're going to be stalking animals, staging an area, waiting for the animals to emerge from a den or or come back to a carcass. So as one started tripod is essential. Uh, I typically take more than one tripod myself, right? Um, and I take different tripod heads, sometimes gimbal, sometimes blow heads, sometimes some of these hybrid. uh, heads because you're going to need them. Okay? Uh, as we discussed before, there is all sort of weather the same day in Yellowstone. Okay? So rain protection for your camera and body is essential. Right? I have I put a presentation on Jeff's channel at one time, and I suggest you look at that of the protection gear that I take in my camera bag. Okay, you need to include lens cleaning equipment, including sensor cleaning equipment, because if you spend a week in the park, your sensor is going to get dirty, even if you minimize changing the lenses, because you're going to change your lenses. Right? Other consideration: dress for all weathers. Okay, include even in the summer. You go in the summer, you have to bring gloves and hats, right? Raincoats or heavy parker. Right? Uh, my recommendation is to carry bear spray. If you are with a park ranger, they will have a bear spray, but bear spray can be purchased uh, in the park. It brings a sense of security, but learn how to use it. Now, the only problem is that inside the park it can be expensive, right? So sometimes buying it before you enter the park is better. Mm. I take a small stool for long stakeouts. Sometimes you have to leave your tripod in the middle of the area outside your car. Having a place to sit is important. Yeah. We talk about binoculars and spotting scope. Okay. Um, yeah. And sorry, a mistake here. We dedicated tripods. Okay. So you have a scope, have a different tripod for your scope. Now, important thing is that if you don't own a spotting scope, some of the concessionaires inside and outside the park offer rentals. Okay, so you can rent your scope. Um, National Park Services have organized guided tours and lectures. So if you want to know more, you can do that. But remember, when you are committed to one of those, this is less time that you have for photography. So that's good to do in the middle of the day when you don't want to be doing so much of photography when when the light is not that good. Okay? And you can book in advance. Uh, uh, Food in the park can be expensive, like John was saying, but repetitive as well. Right? So sometimes you stay out of the park just because you can cook by yourself, or you can go to some of the restaurants outside the park. Some of the geysers, such as World Faithful, but a lot of the geysers have schedules, and those are posted, and the lodges can tell you exactly when do they expect. Sometimes within minutes, but sometimes within hours, where a certain geyser is going to erupt. So you can use that information to uh, to plan your visit of your thermal areas. Okay, the park entrance is valid for 1 week. So you buy a park entrance, which is one park entrance per car. It used, I think, it used to cost like close to $100, but it lasts for an entire week. Okay, and of course, for many of us who are 62 and Americans, we got the forever national parks that allows to use any park anytime after for perpetuity after you are 62. So I find out the presentations with some of my favorite pictures. To tell you the truth, some of these my favorite pictures were taken long time ago with cameras that only have like 6 megapixels. Okay? So this is on my trip in 2004. Right? And I was actually around one of the thermal areas very early in the morning, and this female elk came into that um, area and gave me the chance to acquire this image here.
Beautiful.
Backlight uh, with several distinctive elements. Right? My favorite uh, wa- uh, owl or great owl is this one here, right? And mostly uh, because the perch with all that moss and all that. And then I'm going to show you my very special photo that I took in Yellowstone.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I think this was in 2005, and uh, this cougar, this mountain lion, show up here across a canyon. So this is across the canyon, okay? And it was a little dot there, but everybody, even this Chuck, even the superintendent of the park came to see this animal. He stayed there in that cliff for the whole day. My son was only like 6, 7 years old. He was so well behaved. He stayed with us there the whole day, correct? Because we had to wait until the afternoon for the light to go in and illuminate the. We could see him, but he was in the shadows in the canyon. And my beautiful son stayed with me the whole day with my wife, along with half of the park was parked in that area there. You know, all the people that were there were looking at this magnificent animal. This happened not every year. Every other year, you see there was a sighting of a mountain lion. And this picture that you see here, I donated a photo of that to the ranger station. And even today, when you go to the ranger station in Tower, there is that photo that I took. So this is my. You see, I got several photos, obviously, but this is the one that I donated to the park. And with that, I finish.
All right. Excellent. Excellent.
You did very well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Man, it's just some way.
Yes.
A lot of work there.
Well,
Man.
Roy, this is 20 years of going to the same park.
Just putting it together was a lot enough work.
Yeah.
But I thought it was. I know a lot of people here do wildlife photography, and as Jeff sometimes reminded, we are not only a wildlife photography YouTube channel, but but I wanted to pass my experience and provide you with you guys. So I do. If you visit the park, you have somebody that can help you.
Hey, now, would you be would you be okay if other people want to uh, take that and be able to use it?
Yes, if people want to have, they can reach to us, Chuck, and I will provide a PDF version of
Okay,
that
good.
presentation.
Yeah, man. What that was just a lot of work.
So this has been my work for many years. So every year when I was still working, actually one of the reasons that I moved here to Colorado is because I have access to places like Yellowstone, right?
Yep. A lot of people talking about there's it's just wonderful. You I love it. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you. I highly appreciate it.
Yeah.
And let me know. All right. So I remember many people that this channel have come. I see Martin Hill came and visit Yellowstone and all that. And maybe one day, we organize a trip to Yellowstone from this group. I guide it.
There you go.
I got it for free.
There you go.
Because it is for me as a geologist. And by the way, guys, sometimes, I mean, Michael, remember that I made a recommendation. The roads getting into Yellowstone, correct? The road from Cody, Wyoming, into Yellowstone is wonderful. It's the most photogenic road, correct? With a lot of incredible volcanic environment. If you come to the north entrance, which is the east entrance, which I like, correct? That also come through Cody. Wow, that's fantastic. But in the northwest entrance, you go through to Chief Joseph Highway, Scenic Highway. That road and Paradise Valley, that's one of the most beautiful places I have seen. If you want to see glacier, obviously the glaciers are not there, but glacier environment, it's fantastic for the
Yeah.
landscape photographer, that area, correct? And so every of these entrances, correct? Or combining it with with a trip to the Tetons, correct? Which are different type of mountains, correct? Remember, Yellowstone is combination of volcanics, obviously the Yellowstone crater and all the volcanic mountain ranges around. The Tetons have different type of environment with big jagged peaks with still active glaciers. Okay,
Yeah, it's just great. Yep.
I mean we are so blessed with those national parks here in the United States. Okay?
It's right. Yep.
And I mean, for me, and you can imagine that for me, this is like being a wildlife photographer and a geologist. This is heaven, correct? So when I go to heaven, I know where I'm going.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us don't we don't take on. We can go back to the with Yellowstone and all the others as a senior citizen. It's it's no better. It's no problem.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think somebody earlier mentioned, yes, the National Park Services are getting busy and sometimes they restrict access to the park here in Randall,
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain National Park in the past. I mean, I'm Coloradian, correct? I live in Colorado. I have lived in Colorado now more than 20 years, right? In the past, you just take your car and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have to make in the summer, you have to make a special reservation, and you have the stress of logging in the morning so that you can get one of the allocated entrance time. I mean, it's becoming a pain, correct? To be some of the parks because our parks are being overused. Now, remember I told you all of the photography is around the the roads. The roads are busy.
Yeah.
But one of the most incredible experiences in Yellowstone, and so remember, you have to have different experience. You step out of your car, sometimes and you walk into one of the trails, you are back when Yellowstone didn't have a person.
Yeah.
You step 100 yards from the road, and you are in the Pleistocene,
Yeah.
right? So you go back over the geological time.
Yep. Um, uh,
I agree with Rakesh. This is the most informative presentation for Yellowstone
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah. It covered everything.
Yes. And there is more to cover, but I want to give you I don't want to make it too boring. Don't
No.
let me talking about the geology there. That if we ever plan a trip together, then you have to hear me talking about look at this rock and look at the glacier. It's wonderful, and the animals, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. Let's go back to the regular show.
No, no, that was good. We got a lot of people in there talking about a lot of people were talking about well, it's a little bit you thinking about uh, what the co- um Nikon is going to make their new camera is uh, is a G5 or Z5 II or Z9 II.
Yes, definitely. They release 2.5 cameras per year in average. So we're due to see 2 cameras this year, Chuck.
Yeah, no. So I don't know what they're going to see or what we're going to see when we when it starts coming around, but be something to look at it.
Yes.
Any lenses you're looking forward to?
I like everybody is waiting for the uh, 35 1.2. I don't know if they're going to be
Hmm.
you know going to go to the 32 or 25 33. Anyway, 335 1.2, or if it's just going to be some long wait.
For a chubby little lens.
Yeah. I don't want it, but I know there's a lot of people that like it. 335 1.2, or if it's just going to be some long wait.
For a
Okay,
chubby
so
little lens.
internet
Yeah.
sound just on. It's
I don't want it. But I
Still
know
waiting for the tilt shift.
there's like it.
deja vu.
I guess, yeah.
The definitely the lenses that I'm looking for. I mean, I like we had discussed before. I actually would like to have a telephoto macro lens, correct? Either a 200 macro or I would like to have something exotic like a 300 macro, right? 300
Oh,
millimeter
yeah,
macro,
yeah.
something
Yep.
like that, or a very wide angle. I think we talked before and with before something like that, 10 millimeters without getting into the fisheye lens, but having a very wide angle. Uh,
Yep.
those are the lenses that, for me, will make me buy something else at this moment.
I know a lot of people are, uh, but talking about the 200, but that there's going to be a small uh, number of people that buys that.
Yes, because I know a specialized lens, correct?
Yeah,
But people like some the people here that do, like butterfly photography and all that kind of stuff. Uh, you know, eh, having a macro telephoto, right?
yeah.
That give you some working distance with insects is fantastic. Yeah.
It-
Agua, 10 millimeters. Yes, Terry, we need something like that in the
no,
That's a lens
We
cap,
do.
but that's a lens. That's a pancake lens.
nah. And you know what? They make live like people are looking for that. It can go. Nah, well, they can go with that.
Isn't Fujifilm doing what is it? A medium format with a fixed lens supposed to be
Yeah.
coming?
I don't know what it's for though.
Yeah. So
It's
is it a zoom lens or is it just a prime?
Probably just gonna be a prime.
Oh well.
Very weird.
I think Chuck doesn't like pancake lenses.
yeah,
The only pancakes that he likes is the one that he eats.
yeah, that's right. No,
I'm with you.
and they got about a lot of people want them. That's okay. Van, he wants uh,
A replica.
100 105.2.5, right? Be what
Yes.
he's garbage, gosh, he says it would be
It would be great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think Roy has one of those. I think I have one of those too.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course I do.
You
See,
want
I got that one too. They had two versions of that. One was a 2.0 and the other one was a 2.5.
And a 2.8.
Yeah. Oh, okay. 1.8. All right.
Mhm.
I think I have the D version, Troy.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, those were great, fantastic. But I think with the new, I think something uh, on the telephoto range, correct? But to do macro because definitely in
Well,
excess of
Nikon's always had 200 millimeter macros, and
exactly,
they've
but
always been fantastic.
yes, but you see, but I want them to do something new. That's why I say 300 macro.
Well, I saw I had the 28 to 400, and I've used it as a macro lens, and it's fantastic. So I know the 105 does a great job, and so does
Doesn't
the
take a teleconverter though.
yeah. No.
So
If
Yeah,
the 105 took,
but
if the 105 took a teleconverter, at least that'd be useful.
that's true.
so I can understand where camera companies want to keep the cameras kind of secret, and then they talk about it, and then when it's going to be released, I don't see why they should do the same with the lenses, because that way you can prepare to save some money before the lenses start shipping.
Well, everything it was at one time, they had lens, things one, but they just quit that.
Yeah, Terry bring an interesting point here. He wanted to have, we know it's going to be a wide angle, but it had to be rectilinear without real distortion. Right?
Yes.
And obviously, that is fantastic. Otherwise, as you know, Roy, every time you use one of these wide angles, and Terry knows that you have to make sure that you're so parallel to the scene that you're photographing, so that the lines don't go.
Yeah.
And then, or you use your perspective corrective lenses, right? Your PC lenses, which
Hmm.
So
I
either you get distortion with pincushion, or or vignetting. So you have to worry about that stuff too. But
apparently the law, according to Terry, it is does that is.
Sorry, guys, I've got to go for a little while.
All
No, that's
right,
all right. Right, go ahead.
all right, buddy.
take care.
Thanks.
That's okay.
Yes, life gets in the way, so
Yeah.
Rakesh is saying that he wants a 12 millimeter 1.2. Wow, that that would be a lens.
Yeah.
10 millimeter 1.0.
Well, they
Man,
got no 95, don't they? Somewhere. Was it Viltrox or was it Voigtlander that came out with one? It's manual focus, but they have a .095.
Yeah, but it's not a 10 millimeter. It's probably I think it was closer to normal type of. But indeed, some wide angle lens. I see people like Rakesh or Terry they do a lot of landscape photography. For sure, will benefit from a very good wide angle lens with a lot very luminous, correct? But I don't know whether that's possible to have a 10 millimeter 1.0. But hey, they may be able with the new mount.
yeah. What does Canon have right now?
I think Canon has a very interesting zoom wide angle zoom, correct?
I don't know.
I think they have something in the.
You know what? I haven't been in ju- touch with stuff since I've been uh, the stroke,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just now beginning to add or wanted to start watching for the
The news.
yeah, the
Yeah.
camera
Yes.
news.
Yeah. And it's moving so fast. Yes, I say Rakesh remind me that they have a 10 to 20 millimeter zoom f4.
Yeah.
I have something like that from Sony, and Sigma also has been killing it. Them and Viltrox, they're coming out with lenses like crazy.
Yeah, um, Seal Cross or whatever it is, and trying to make these lenses for uh, uh, all different sign for Nikon.
What is it? Lens Lab that's going back to old type lenses that aren't being made anymore, and they're starting to make them. They did it for Leica, and I think some of the old Nikon lenses. So
Hmm.
that's pretty interesting. They're like the smaller lenses. Uh, that we did talk a couple of weeks ago about the adapter that they're finally going to put uh, the little notch where you can put your pre AI lenses on
Yes.
Okay.
your camera. I
Yes.
haven't heard anything about it. Have you?
No, no, nothing new. I think only the rumors, correct? No, nothing
Yeah.
more.
Well, there was a third party company that was going to do it. Then Nikon came in with that rumor, and then haven't heard anything since. So I'm looking for that adapter. I got some old lenses that I would love to try out. That's why I got 3 DSLRs now. I got the D610, the DF, and the D500 just to try out all those lenses, on the cameras.
Hmm.
And that would be good. But uh, Randall, I think we mentioned last time the people that have those screw lenses, correct? Actually, my um, macro 105 has one of those little screw, to move the autofocus. Okay,
Hmm.
but people are going to complain. Correct. As soon as they come out and they having that it's too slow or it make noise, so live with it. Correct. I mean,
Uh, is
it's
anybody out there want the giant come on in for at least put a, if you want to get in, just let me know. That'll get it.
yes. Send an email to Chuck, and he
Yep.
send you the link.
Yep.
So, by the way, guys, indeed, Chuck, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Uh, that's a reminder for future. In order to keep the channel moving, we need this community to support it. Correct. Uh, so Chuck has always been welcome. The first time, I never did this before. Correct. So one time I asked Chuck, "Hey, Chuck, I may join you one day," because he was asking, and I'm sure he's asking again. So you he everybody's welcome here to come and chat for a little while. And if you have a presentation or something, for
I
sure.
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. Before that, I used to send photos to Chuck and Jeff and Roy and say, "Hey, I'm photographing this," and they say,
Yep.
"Oh, no, that looks good." And then I build the courage to come and talk to you guys.
Yep.
So,
Everybody has been. Everybody, they just they get. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they get a little bit of I don't know something, and they come on and they do extremely well,
Yes,
and then it's the way it is.
exactly. And then they come back another time. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not only the first time is intimidating.
well,
Particularly here, Chuck, where we have the same people all the time, correct? So we are all think that we know each other, uh,
Mhm.
and there is nobody's going to be, nobody should be intimidated,
No,
and we know we have a lot of talent among the people that frequent this channel here? I mean, we see that every month, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So I like it when Eva came on it at one time.
Oh,
I like to have some women represented also.
Yep.
Point of view.
And she did a fantastic presentation on that telephotos. You know, the people were saying, I'm not so sure. And she demonstrated that as a, you know, that I think it was the 28 to 400, correct? That was a fantastic
What about
double lens.
and Sharon? She, I saw her in the a little bit,
Yes.
and it was, man. I see. I always speak. I want to have some uh, females on the show, and it's great.
Yeah, I'm aware. Anita Stewart. I mean, she is such an accomplished photographer, correct?
That's right.
Yeah,
I always tease.
She's right.
I always tease Mr. Stewart and say, I know who is the best photographer in the family. And talk about the issues. I mean, come on, Diane. If you check her Instagram,
yep.
I mean, she, guys, I must say, and we all have to be humble. She's probably the best of all of us. Correct?
Yes, yeah.
Hey, yeah, this is a reminder, guys, that we have a photo review coming in February, correct? So we're going to be reminding you here when we Chuck in the AP Studios channel, correct? That we will continue to do the reviews on Jeff Neville channel. So please do start thinking about what you're going to show to Jeff, send to Jeff. The next photo review will be the first day of the month in February, right? 2025. So continue sending your photos to selected imagery one at gmail.com. The same arrangement we had before, uh, 28 pixels on the long side. But if you have something already made that is slightly bigger, that's okay, provided you can email that to Jeff. He will present it, whatever resolution you feel is adequate. But the minimum, I think, is 48 pixels in the long. The deadline is typically the Friday before the photo review. In this case, will be Friday, January 31st, 2025. But let's be kind to Jeff. So let's try to send it way in advance, because he had to do some naming and put it in order. And our friend Jeff is very organized, and he likes to keep the text that you send when you send a description with your photos together. So let's make Mr. Jeff life a little bit easier, but send them in advance. As you know, last week we had 100 photos, and it was wonderful, correct? And let's make sure that that now that we have Jeff only once a month, that we keep him happy so that he return here more regularly. And this is my favorite show. And it takes less time for me to put presentation, Chuck. It's easy to just submit my photos to Jeff, and then enjoy the show with all the wonderful contribution from our talented group here.
Yep. Yeah, it really is. It's really uh, everybody uh, does a good job with their shows.
Yeah, and you see all these other channels, people talking about this camera gear, this, and I am fantastic photographer. But this is the only channel, or you here in Epic Studios and Jeff channel, where people show what they do. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
We don't. I mean, we show ourselves as we are.
Yep.
Mr. Jim say, who's just this just never person?
Yeah. I'm surprised he isn't hanging around.
I think he's probably hanging around in secret.
He's working.
He's saying that he's not listening, but I guess he is. But it's good for him to take some me time.
Yeah. Well, it's good. You know,
Yeah.
if he does that with his wife, that's good work. Good. Yep.
Yes.
Well, my cat is laying down here on the sand. My poor thing, poor kitty cat.
Yeah, Mr. Noah and Leo in the background. Oh my God, I see an ear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did he follow you around all over the place?
Everywhere
Yeah,
he goes, he where he goes, I goes.
yeah. There's my cat, and I'm surprised he's there. Uh, Usually my dog is sleeping there, but anyway.
He's late. He's just like it. What are you doing?
Yeah,
He let's my he blah, blah. Just hang on a minute.
Yeah. So what you're drinking there, Chuck? So for next week, so people can, I think there is some good opportunity for some astronomical photography coming up for those like yourself, Mr. Chuck, that has a 800 millimeter. All right. But I
Yeah.
will mention that next week, right, so that we can be ready. So it will be a
Okay.
great opportunity to photograph uh, Mars and the moon, the full moon,
Okay.
in the
yeah.
same frame.
They're supposed to have all 8 planets.
They are visible.
Yeah,
But in particularly for us here in North America, we're going to be able to photograph the the moon going in front of Mars, and that will mean that in the same frame we can have everything. I think we have Mr. Woody here, so showing up here.
Yeah.
Hi, Woody.
yeah. I've
He
been
said that he fell asleep. He probably fell asleep listening to me.
no. Usually, if I eat, I've been falling asleep, and I sleep for like 2 or 3 hours, and I'm thinking, "Wow, what happened?"
Yes.
Well, since I got the stroke, I've been writing in my a work. Daggone it! You get a I lo- ah. Never mind. I'll just sit here and quit.
No, no, don't worry. Chuck, remember that is the issue. So they don't let you take too much coffee nowadays, Chuck?
Yeah. Well, I can still have a couple, if a couple of cups.
Per
That's it.
day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Don't worry. With this training, by the time they issue the new camera, you will be ready
Yeah. There you go.
to either compliment or rant about it.
Yeah.
See, I was surprised that the Z52 didn't come with a full size battery, and they only came with one SD card slot, and it's still in the battery well. With the D500, they have at least an XQD card
Mhm.
and an SD card, and they have a full size battery, which can
Hmm.
take the 15C like you with the Z92 or all the full frame Nikon Z cameras. So that's surprising. Um, Maybe they're going to come out with a better one. I don't know. Maybe they'll call it the Z500. And
Yeah. You know that it's good. That's a good thing. A lot of people are hoping it'll come to like a Z500. Or not really, but something like that.
By the way, Chuck, one comment on the presentation. And Woody, you have to go backtrack and listen to. I know Woody is also into a lot of wildlife, so he needs to watch that presentation that I made. But that photo of the cougar, correct, the mountain lion,
Hmm.
okay, was taken with a D100 6 megapixel camera, and I had to crop in a little bit. By the way, that photo, you see, at that time I was using a 500 millimeter f4P, which is basically no autofocus, manual focus. Okay? And I was with a wonderful couple all that day that I told you I was with my son, my wife, watching that. And this gentleman that was actually from Idaho and very much into wildlife photography. Remember, this is 2005, right? And I actually came. I was not living just yet here in Denver. I just was having a project, and I came to deal with that project here in Denver. Brought my wife, and they say, "Hey, let's go to Yellowstone." And then we went to Yellowstone and watched that. Correct? So, but this is an interesting thing. He has a Kenko ×2 converter.
Yeah.
Okay, so he lent me that Kenko. Okay, and that Kenko didn't have a great reputation for being a fantastic
Right.
teleconverter, right? And I know Roy hates teleconverters. I used to hate teleconverters too, right? But that was the only chance. Remember, I tell you, Chuck, that photo was taken across the canyon, correct? It
Yeah.
was the other side of the canyon, right?
And it looked close.
So, so I remember this is a 500 millimeters with in a crop sensor camera. See, remember we talk about crop sensor camera. The 100 was a crop sensor camera. It was a DX format, right? So it was already
750.
1.5. So it was 750.
Yeah.
Right? And I put a 2000
1500
converted, so 1500. Okay, and that photo is slightly cropped, 6 megapixel camera. So you can see, I mean, that those were challenging conditions, right? And I remember because that D100 has such a strong mirror, correct? That I went to my car and brought like my bean bag, put it in top, in the hook of the tripod, put a bunch of, my rucksack with rocks, correct? Because I wanted to have the maximum stability.
Yeah.
So that's how that photo was taken, right?
Wow.
And it was because of the good vibe and the good relationship that I have during that trip, with that photographer from Idaho. Okay, that gave me that lent me that Kenko teleconverter. I didn't have a teleconverter. 6 megapixel, Chuck.
Yeah.
And I still was able to bring it this big and print it for the national parks. Because, hey, you take the photo with the, I didn't want to wait for the DA50 to take the photo, correct? Now, if that were had to happen again with your 800 and a two-type converter, that would be a much better picture. Because that picture that you see there is as far as I can get.
And at 45 megapixels too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then you can crop all you want.
By the way, that's the other thing. As I was preparing the presentation, I didn't do it. I took some of the photos that I already have, that were already basically raw, but I have processed before. But I did see that some of the photos, reprocessing them, you get some advantage, correct? On the noise reduction, all the new software for, like to pass for sharpening, that worked very well with all those photos too, right? So we have some background. I can hear myself talking, Roy, again, and that's awful. Hey, don't go.
He hit the wrong one.
Yes.
I liked his new camera. It looked a lot better right there than it did in his where he was first at.
Yes.
Thank you, Woody.
I don't know what's playing up with my.
It's probably your wife watching TV. Tell her to put her headphones in.
So, Chuck, you feel a lot more relaxed now that we have gone through the first show?
Yeah. For um, as much as I had to all the time to this week, send it all, send it all. Well, ah, it was tough. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I got it up here. I got everything up, and we made it.
Exactly. I remember, Chuck, the first, I think it was almost the first 6 months when you started doing the light show, all the gremlins, every show. It was actually funny, correct? We had so many problems.
I know
Yeah.
where they went.
Uh,
But so it's not the first time that we had to overcome all the technical issues.
yeah, and just all the buttons to hit all the buttons again and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
And
Man,
of course, you have the help of the people here, including Mr. Jeff, correct? So I'm glad
yeah,
that he was able to help. So,
yeah. I call him up, or I texted him, and then he sent it back
yes,
what he said, and yep, it just you know, the the it was all new to me.
exactly. You have to relearn it again.
Yeah, man. Oh well.
So, Jeff, so hopefully we have Jeff in 3 weeks here. So, Chuck, we're going to finish here by 10, correct? Or
Yeah.
12 o'clock. So you tell us when you want to say your goodbyes, and hopefully we will invite people for next week.
Well, hopefully everybody will be here for next Saturday, because one, are you gonna do uh, the the books, or out of whatever you're doing?
Yes.
What was it?
So I got a couple of presentations. I got a presentation on some accessory for tripods that I already have, and we're
Yeah.
going to talk about. I'm going to recheck this opportunity to photograph the 800 with the 800 millimeter, the 600 millimeter with the telephoto, that occultation of Mars. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about what lenses or something, or whips. What did he had somebody you talked about we're going to work in, um,
uh-huh. Here we go. Cases. Yes, I have a
yeah.
case. Exactly. That I have that presentation ready to Chuck.
So I can get something. We'll all talk about all these.
Yes, indeed. So we at least we have some material, and obviously we have some news
Yep.
that is good. Obviously, we didn't get that much news out of CES, although the Nico exhibit in there, we saw that there were some interesting stuff, correct? Including the I think the since we have people here that work in the with the space system, right? I think we have a couple of people here that work, including Mr. Neville, right? That work as a but they were showing that special blanket that they put on the C9 for the upcoming lunar photography. Right?
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
Okay. Uh,
Exactly. On his next trip to the moon. Ah. Yeah, between Roy and Randall, they have everything.
Yeah,
We try.
they're talking about build trucks. I got the ETZ 21 Pro, which I've been doing the Sony lenses to the Nikon Z, and I can't find it. I got so many cases, I can't find the adapter because I wanted to try out this pancake lens on a Nikon, see if
Yeah.
it worked good. You know,
Yeah.
look how tiny it is. I mean, here's my finger.
Yep.
That's not a lens, that's a lens cap.
Yeah. So I always like gadgets like that, and
Yeah,
you know,
scientific.
I think it's cheaper if you buy an adapter like that. That way, you don't buy new lenses until you can afford it, and use the old lenses that you have, and then you just sell those cameras, and then start with the new camera system. But yeah, Viltrox, you know,
I like
the
the
next
16.
so. But
Their cat. My cat.
so every time I
It is,
get out, the cat either thinks I'm going to let him outside or I'm going to give him a treat.
It's, it's all right for you, but for us, it's the midnight hour.
4 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Of tomorrow.
Thunderstorm and all.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna call it on the night and look at that. Oh, look at the
Oh wow!
We had a dozen cockatoos.
yep.
They're waiting for you. Is that 2 or 3?
There's about 10 of them.
Oh
Oh,
my goodness! They're
wow,
all white. So
Yeah,
2, 3.
sulfur crested cockatoos.
My.
man.
See, no need for Roy to go to Yellowstone.
No, just look out the window.
Exactly.
Had some black cockatoos yesterday. They're
Wow.
very rare.
All right. So it'd be see Saturday night next week, 9 o'clock. We'll all be here for. We're gonna open up on maybe start off with some daggone it.
The cases with
Yeah. Okay, and 800. We
yes,
talked about.
exactly. Okay, so we got some topics for you guys for next week.
Yeah, and we'll just make it all good.
That's true.
Yeah, I've got lots of cases. Most of them I've never used.
Yep, I know. I don't either, but I'll tell you, he's gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna put them on. We're gonna make them work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, for the long presentation. So I say bye
It was
bye
good.
to you, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you want a copy, let Chuck know, and he will let me know, and then I send you a PDF version of that. Okay?
Yep.
So,
All right.
is the stream still going on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering because it was hesitating a little bit. I looked at it and I said, "Wait a minute."
Until Chuck said goodbye, and then we go.
Yeah.
I just say my goodbye already.
Okay.
Goodbye. Stay safe. Keep the prayers up for California.
Yeah.
Fire. Support the Red Cross and any other charity. And thank you for stopping by.
All right.
Yeah.
Roy.
Bye.
All right. We'll talk everybody tomorrow or next Saturday.
Thank you.
All right.
Same time, same place.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye.